In the endless void between stars, the Kor'thul Empire reigns supreme. Their armadas stretched like thunderclouds, blotting out suns and crushing worlds beneath obsidian talons. Nothing resisted Kor'thul might until the whisper came. A fledgling human vessel, the Aurora's dawn, had slipped into the outer rim, evading detection. Unnoticed, undefended, Commander Asarth, High Overseer of the Kor'thul Fourth Armada, paced atop the obsidian walkway within the Imperial base Obsidian Pinnacle. He conquered 1,000 worlds, each surrendering beneath the might of plasma and bone. Yet this anomaly gnawed at him. Mere hours ago, vessel signatures flickered on long-range arrays. Low-tech, erratic trajectory, inexplicable. A speck where none should be. Trivial, hissed his advisor, the crystalline Ratash. By morning, Aurora's dawn will be scrap. Asarth's eyes glowed violet. Or a warning. Prepare strike wings. His voice carried the weight of worlds. On the Aurora's dawn, Captain Marisol Vega tightened her grip on the console. They were deep in the Kor'thul's claimed space, doing something impossible, charting unclaimed hyperspace corridors. Her crew, 6 hardened, hopeful souls, had one mission: survive. And maybe, just maybe, show the galaxy humanity refused conquest. Captain, incoming comping, said Lieutenant Akira Javid. Kor'thul designation, high priority. They want us to surrender. Vega drew a breath. Open the channel. A crackling projection shimmered into existence, the gaunt, insectal face of Asarth. Humans, he rasped. Surrender now or be extinguished. Vega squared her shoulders. We don't surrender. We explore. We learn. If we must fight, so be it. Asarth's mandibles clicked. Arrogance. He killed calm behind him. Ratash watched the readings spike. Aurora's dawn powered up weapons. Low yield. Symbolic. Dangerous. Strikewing Alpha assembled. Fighters bristled with pulse disruptors. They launched it. Swarming like hornets. Within minutes, the Aurora's dawn danced through plasma and ruin, retaliating. Shields shimmered. Human ingenuity clashed with Kor'thul precision. Then came the moment of truth. The Aurora's dawn veered into a nebula. Ion storms blinded sensors. Kor'thul fighters faltered. The vessel slipped away. Left behind, 10 shattered fighters, their wreckage echoing silence through void. Back on Obsidian Pinnacle, the control room was dead quiet. Asarth stared at the holomap. They survived in a nebula. No one survives in a nebula. Ratash's exoskeleton trembled. Impossible. Asarth's violet gaze hardened. They survived. Humans survive. And that changes everything. He turned. Prepare the ground expedition. We purge that nebula. Find these humans. Show them Kor'thul will. But fail, and we must rethink. On Aurora's dawn, crew gathered by the viewport, watching distant nebula clouds swirl like ghosts. Captain Vega spoke softly. They'll come. But they won't find us easy. We're small, but we're not afraid. Lieutenant Javid smiled. We did the impossible once. Marisol pressed her palm on the glass. Then we do it again. Voiceover, dramatic. In the shadow of Obsidian Pinnacle and the swirling nebula, 2 civilizations poised at the brink. One ruled by conquest, the other by courage. The Kor'thul believed themselves invincible. But when even one human ship slips through their grasp, the Empire trembles. For in that single human choice, to stand, to fight, to endure, lies the spark that may ignite resistance across the stars. Aurora's dawn, first skirmish in the nebula. The Kor'thul were not accustomed to uncertainty. Their dominion stretched across 14 sectors, their starforges bled metal like rivers, and their war chants echoed from asteroid mines to fractured moons. But now, within the heart of Obsidian Pinnacle, the impossible brewed like a storm beneath polished obsidian floors. Commander Asarth stood within the Chamber of Dominion. A vaulted nexus at the center of the alien base, where crystalline pillars pulsed with bioelectric veins, illuminating the faces of warlords, tacticians, and broodlords alike. All eyes locked on him. Fear, doubt, quiet whispers beneath forked tongues. The failure of Strike Wing Alpha was not merely a tactical error. It was an insult to their legacy, a blemish on the Empire's reputation. One human vessel, insignificant in size, primitive by Kor'thul standards, had slipped through patrol lines, embarrassed their finest squadrons, and vanished into a nebula their charts had deemed lethal. Now Asarth addressed the gathered elite, our pride. He declared, voice vibrating with restrained fury, has made us blind. We believed the humans weak, soft, but weakness is a veil, and beneath it hides their defiance. The assembly hissed, a sound like molten rock striking frozen glass. No one interrupted. Isarth activated a projection. The image of Aurora's dawn flickered above them. Its patched hull, scavenged modifications, and crude weapon ports. It should have been scrap metal drifting in void. Yet here it was, surviving. Defying. These creatures, Isarth snarled, slipped past our perimeter. They danced through the chaos of the nebula, using its storms as a shield. His mandibles twitched. They do not seek conquest. They probe. Observe. They calculate our weaknesses and they will share them. A broodlord, scaled and hulking, spoke with disdain. A single ship poses no threat. Isarth's violet eyes narrowed. It's never a single ship. It's never one rebel. One whisper becomes a legend. One survivor breeds resistance. Empires do not collapse from war, they decay from underestimation. He gestured and the hologram shifted, schematics of the Aurora's dawn's escape trajectory. We've mapped the storm patterns. They hide beyond the fractured belt, a region riddled with spatial anomalies. The advisors exchanged uneasy glances. Isarth continued. We will send Ground Division Theta 9, our most relentless hunters. They will not merely destroy the humans, they will dissect them. We will learn how a species so primitive evaded the pinnacle of Kor'thul engineering. Silence reigned. Finally, Rutash, the crystalline advisor, spoke. And if they elude us again? Isarth's expression darkened. His clawed fingers traced the base's command console, trails of shimmering data cascading like waterfalls. Then he declared, we accept that humanity is not merely an infestation to eradicate, but a storm to anticipate. In the distance, the alien strike teams prepared, suits polished, exoskeletal reinforcements tightened, and biosensors calibrated to human physiology. The hunt was not merely military procedure, it was vengeance. A reminder to the stars, no one mocked the Kor'thul and survived. Meanwhile, far beyond sensor range, the Aurora's dawn drifted silently between fragments of shattered moons, engines dormant, hull camouflaged by stellar debris. Captain Marisol Vega watched the void, her jaw set. They're coming, she whispered. But so were they, the humans, bold, underestimated, and ready to teach empires to fear the defiant. There are moments in history when the outcome is not decided by fleets, weapons, or the grandeur of empires, but by whispers in dark corridors and the decisions made in forgotten corners of space. The Aurora's dawn, fragile yet defiant, had become such a whisper, a single defiance rippling through the mighty halls of Obsidian Pinnacle, an alien fortress older than most human cities, carved into the jagged core of a rogue planetoid drifting beyond known charts. Commander Isarth understood this better than his subordinates. Empires fall not from battles, but from the slow, creeping corrosion of arrogance. His clawed hand hovered above the tactical display, tracing the fractal web of human incursion. It was not merely a ship, it was a message. But on the far edge of Kor'thul territory, nestled in the gravitational shadows of collapsing moons, the real war brewed, not of plasma blasts and starship duels, but of knowledge, subterfuge, and survival. Deep within Obsidian Pinnacle, Division Theta 9 prepared. They were not soldiers by conventional standards. They were engineered hunters cloaked in adaptive carapace armor, their nervous systems intertwined with hive-based neural relays. Grown, not born. Designed, not raised. They required no sleep, no sustenance beyond the biofuel infused in their exoskeletal cores. Their purpose was singular: locate, isolate, dismantle. The leader of Theta 9, known only as Unit Sereth, reviewed the schematics projected in front of her. The Aurora's dawn was crewed by Kor'thul metrics, inefficient energy output, patched hyperdrives, unreliable shielding, but unpredictability made humans dangerous. Humans, Sereth's voice rasped, distorted by internal translators, excel where logic falters. Her team, faceless behind reflective masks, synchronized their targeting arrays. No speeches. No ceremony. In the Kor'thul hierarchy, Division Theta 9 operated beyond glory. Victory was expected. Failure was dissection. But light years away, in the fragmented asteroid field dubbed the Fractured Belt, Captain Marisol Vega ran simulations. Every possibility, every tactic exhausted, but survival odds thinned with every hour. They were outgunned, outnumbered, outmatched. But humanity's strength? It was never firepower. It was never numbers. It was resolve. We stay hidden until they expose themselves, Vega instructed. Her crew crowded within the Aurora's bridge. Exhausted, bruised, but burning with quiet determination. Lieutenant Akira Javid recalibrated the scanning arrays, his hands trembling slightly from fatigue. They'll come in force. Vega's eyes narrowed. Good. The louder they hunt, the more mistakes they make. Outside the viewport, fragments of shattered alien structures drifted, remnants of long-forgotten civilizations the Kor'thul had likely conquered. History buried beneath asteroids erased by arrogance. But humans? They remembered. And they adapted. Back at Obsidian Pinnacle, the final sequence initiated. Theta 9 deployed, vanishing into hyperspace with surgical precision. Their departure left no energy spike, no gravitational signature. To any sensor grid, they did not exist. Isarth watched them go, his gaze fixed on distant star charts. If they succeed, the humans fall, Utash mused beside him. And if they fail, Isarth replied coldly, the humans rise, and the Empire fractures. But the game was already in motion. Across parsecs of void, fate pivoted on one fragile ship, a stubborn captain, and the ancient truth that even empires forget. A spark, tiny, defiant, can ignite rebellion in the deepest dark. In the grand halls of history. Victories are rarely forged by brute strength alone. They are sculpted in silence. In fractured asteroid belts, in darkened nebulae, in the hushed spaces between sensor pings and the cautious hum of failing engines. Here, in the shadows of the fractured belt, the fragile hope of humanity flickered unnoticed by most, but undeniable to those who understood the tides of war. On board the Aurora's dawn, the crew prepared for inevitability. The ship's battered hull creaked beneath gravitational stress as the debris field drifted, twisted remnants of ancient outposts, forgotten battle stations, and vessels long reduced to orbital wreckage. This was no safe haven. It was a graveyard, silent, suffocating, and filled with the ghosts of species who'd underestimated their enemies. Captain Marisol Vega moved through the cramped bridge, every step heavy with purpose. Her fingers trailed across exposed wires, patched consoles, makeshift repairs, a testament to the raw determination of her crew. Fragile, outnumbered, but still breathing. "We have 6 hours," she announced, voice low, eyes scanning the battered display screens. "Kor'thul will deploy infiltrators before they risk another fleet." Lieutenant Akira Javid nodded grimly, fatigue carving lines into his youthful face. "Stealth hunters. Theta class?" Vega's jaw tightened. "Worse. Theta 9. A silence settled like frost. Theta 9, stories whispered in covert channels, names spoken only in cautionary tales of rebellion crushed before the first shot fired. They were engineered for elimination, no mistakes, no emotions, no hesitation. If they found the Aurora's dawn, survival would not be measured in hours, but in seconds. Across the void, hidden within the shifting gases of a nebula's edge, Unit Seraph and her Theta 9 operatives materialized from hyperspace. Their sleek dropships shimmered, cloaked beneath fractal camouflage fields, blending with the electromagnetic chaos of the belt. Sarath's mind connected to her squad, biosynaptic relays sharing thought, vision, strategy in a seamless web of coordination. No energy spikes detected. "Human vessel stationary," reported one operative. Sarath's voice cut through the relay. "They'll hide within the debris. Expect traps. Expect the unexpected." To most of the Kor'thul hierarchy, humanity remained an enigma, a primitive species punching above its evolutionary weight. But Sarath respected variables. And humans? They were the deadliest variable in the galaxy. Back aboard Aurora's dawn, Vega recalibrated their scanning suite, outdated, damaged, but functional enough for survival. A faint spike flickered across the console, a disruption subtle as a heartbeat masked within the debris field's electromagnetic noise. "They're here," Vega muttered. Lieutenant Javid's eyes widened. "Orders." She exhaled slowly, gaze hardening. "We stay dead. No signals. No energy bursts. Full passive systems." The crew obeyed, slipping into the eerie quiet of enforced stillness. Hull lights dimmed. Engines silenced. From the outside, the vessel became another fragment of orbital wreckage. But survival demanded more than hiding. Vega activated a covert command subroutine. Decoys deployed. Fragments of metallic debris fitted with false heat signatures drifted into the belt's gravitational currents. It was a gamble, primitive, desperate, but in the quiet game of survival, misdirection often trumped brute force. Unit Seraph, monitoring biometric telemetry, noted the decoys immediately. "Human trickery," one operative remarked. Sarath's mandibles clicked softly. Effective. Predictable. But insufficient. Her squad advanced, silent predators moving through the asteroid graveyard, unaware that in their overconfidence they'd overlooked the oldest tactic in human history. Make them think you're weaker than you are. Let them come. Then strike. The universe often forgets the smallest threats, the hairline fracture in an airlock, the barely detectable spark before an engine fire, the single Defiant ship drifting quietly among the bones of forgotten wars. But the Kor'thul had made a critical error. They underestimated the smallest threat in the galaxy, the human mind armed with desperation. Within the fractured asteroid field known as the Fractured Belt, the crew of the Aurora's Dawn prepared for the inevitable. They were fewer than 20 souls trapped within a vessel never designed for combat, battered by cosmic radiation and scarred by near misses with extinction. But extinction is a familiar companion to humans. They dance with it, laugh in its face, and survive again and again. Captain Marisol Vega stood at the center of the dimly lit command deck, watching flickering schematics of the belt's debris field. Her heart pounded in quiet defiance. "Status on decoy dispersal?" she asked, voice steady. Lieutenant Akira Java checked the holodisplay. "Decoys in motion. Mimicking life support fluctuations, power surges, they'll scan like damaged escape pods." Vega nodded. "Good. Let them hunt shadows." Outside, among drifting asteroid husks, the decoys moved, silent, flickering with false signals designed to lure the Kor'thul's most feared hunters into the unknown. But Sereth was no fool. Unit Sereth, leader of the Kor'thul's elite Theta 9 squad, floated through the darkness, her exosuit shimmering as it adapted to the void's shifting radiation. Her neural uplink pulsed with data, the human vessel's signature faint but traceable beneath the static noise of the belt. Decoys, yes? But beyond them? Human ingenuity. Human unpredictability. Sereth's mandibles flexed as she gestured, her squad splitting, encircling the debris, moving with inhuman precision through the derelict asteroid remains. One false signal pulsed faintly near a drifting cargo pod, a perfect trap, designed to mimic human life support. Her second-in-command approached silently, scanning, nothing. Empty. Another signature, a damaged escape pod, broadcast faint distress pulses. Sereth's voice crackled across the neural relay. "Caution. Humans play with ghosts." Her squad advanced methodically, dissecting the decoy network but finding no sign of the Aurora's Dawn. It was then Sereth noticed the pattern. The decoys weren't random. They formed a trail, leading deeper into the belt's densest cluster, toward an ancient ruin, forgotten architecture, remnants of a civilization long consumed by Kor'thul conquest. A tomb. A trap, but Sereth smiled, for traps only work on the unprepared. Aboard Aurora's Dawn, Vega tracked Theta 9's movement with crude, jury-rigged sensors. "They're advancing," Javid reported. "Splitting formation. Minimal chatter between them." Vega studied the readings. Standard infiltration pattern, but they're cautious. She activated the vessel's hidden reserves, localized energy bursts, timed to mimic damaged thruster leaks, drawing the hunters deeper toward the ruins. "Let them see only what we want," Vega whispered. As the Kor'thul infiltrators entered the ruins, Vega triggered the final deception. Electromagnetic pulses rippled outward, scrambling sensors, distorting readings, forcing Theta 9 to rely on instinct rather than technology. Inside the ruins, Sereth's squad faltered, vision disrupted, communications fractured. The humans had turned a derelict battlefield into a labyrinth of shadows. A faint signal crackled nearby. A human heartbeat. A whisper. Then the trap was sprung. Explosive charges, small, primitive, devastatingly effective, detonated throughout the ruins, sending debris cascading, severing neural links, blinding advanced optics. Sereth's squad stumbled, momentarily vulnerable. And in that instant, Vega's voice echoed through the ruins, calm, resolute. "You thought we'd run. You thought we'd break. But you forgot we're human." The ruins collapsed, the belt swallowed the chaos, and for the first time in a generation, the Kor'thul hunters knew fear. Silence carries many meanings in deep space. Sometimes it signals the emptiness of a dead world. Other times it follows destruction, the quiet before survivors crawl from the wreckage, before broken bodies are counted and consequences unfold. In the asteroid labyrinth of the Fractured Belt, silence now reigned, but it was not victory, not yet. The Aurora's Dawn, hidden behind drifting debris, powered minimal life support, cloaking its energy signatures beneath the static hum of cosmic interference. Its hull bore fresh scars from near disaster, the price of survival. Captain Marisol Vega stared at the flickering display, a crude, patched-together sensor feed showing fragments of the collapsed ruins, twisted remnants of alien architecture, and among the rubble, the crippled formation of Kor'thul infiltrators. They were elite. Engineered hunters bred to erase Defiance. But now scattered, disrupted, wounded. It was not the end, but it was a start. Lieutenant Akira Javid, voice rough from exhaustion, broke the tense quiet. We hit them harder than they expected. Vega's eyes narrowed. Not hard enough. Theta 9's alive. Sereth is still moving. Javid flinched. She survived that? Vega's voice stayed cold, steady. Kor'thul don't engineer weakness. Beneath the debris field, Unit Sereth crawled from twisted ruins, exosuit scarred, internal systems flickering with warnings. Her squad fragmented. 4 operatives eliminated. 2 injured. The operation compromised. But Sereth's mind burned with purpose. The humans, they were clever. Resourceful. But that only fueled her resolve. Failure wasn't an option. The Empire demanded results. Sereth activated emergency protocols, deploying micro-drones to map the debris, recalibrate targeting systems, and isolate the Aurora's Dawn's true location. Above them, hidden within the belt's jagged maze, Vega observed. They're recalibrating, she muttered. Javid leaned over the console. We can run. Vega shook her head. Not yet. Run now, they'll track us. We finished this here. Her crew exchanged uneasy glances. But followed orders. They always did. On this ship, courage wasn't optional, it was the only currency they had left. Back on Obsidian Pinnacle, the Kor'thul High Command monitored fragmented data feeds, static, distortion, incomplete readings from the belt's outskirts. Commander Asarth loomed over the command dais, expression unreadable. Casualties, he demanded. Ratash, crystalline features strained with tension, replied, partial squad loss. The human vessel still evades capture. The chamber rippled with disdainful hisses, advisors and warlords whispering doubts, anger boiling beneath the surface. Isarth's gaze remained fixed on the star map. They adapt, he muttered. Faster than expected. One advisor sneered, primitive vermin. Isarth silenced the room with a glare. Vermin survive extermination attempts. Underestimate them again, and vermin become legends. He gestured sharply. Prepare reinforcement fleets. Deploy Omega protocols. We flush them from the belt. But deep within, Isarth knew this wasn't merely about one ship. It was about perception. The Kor'thul ruled through fear, through dominance. If the humans slipped through their grasp again, that fear would fracture. In the belt, Vega initiated her final gambit. With sensor echoes and debris misdirection, she funneled Theta 9 toward a narrow asteroid corridor, a bottleneck. A single entry point. One way in. No easy exit. Sereth, reading the battlefield, recognized the ploy but pressed forward. Arrogance? No certainty. Her squad advanced, weapons primed, neural uplinks humming. Vega's crew held position, a heartbeat monitor spiking, nerves frayed. The trap was set. Both sides prepared for the inevitable, the next strike in a quiet war, hidden beneath ancient stones, beyond Empire's borders where legends of resistance are born, or broken. In every great empire's lifespan, there comes a fracture, a small, insignificant crack in the facade. It may go unnoticed by the arrogant, dismissed by the powerful, ridiculed by the unchallenged. But history remembers those fractures, for through them, revolution bleeds. And now, hidden within the debris-choked veins of the fractured belt, such a fracture had formed, small, defiant, human. The Aurora's Dawn, battered and bruised, drifted silently among shattered relics of forgotten wars. Its systems flickered under low power, life support kept minimal to avoid detection. The crew, tired, breathing recycled air, hearts pounding beneath layers of stubborn defiance, watched the hunter close in. Theta 9, engineered by the Kor'thul to be the sharpest scalpel of extermination, moved with inhuman precision, carving through the asteroid labyrinth toward the Aurora's position. But Captain Marisol Vega understood predators. She had seen them before on Earth's forgotten battlefields, in the back alleys of crumbling colonies, in the desperate eyes of those clinging to survival. Predators hunt. But they bleed too. Final charge prepped? Vega asked, voice a steady whisper slicing the tense quiet of the bridge. Lieutenant Akira Javid confirmed with a nod. It'll blow the whole corridor. But we'll only get one shot. Vega's jaw tightened. That's all we need. Beneath them, hidden beneath jagged rock fragments and the skeletal remains of derelict starcraft, charges had been carefully placed. Crude. Hand-assembled. But effective. Theta 9's formation advanced, unknowingly walking into the ambush. Unit Sereth, damaged but resolute, led them. Her exosuit system screamed with red warnings, biosensors flickering from the earlier detonation, but her mind burned clear. The humans had cornered themselves. Desperation made them bold. But boldness without power? Predictable. Exploitable. She gestured silently, ordering her squad to fan out, weapons aimed, scans penetrating layers of debris. Yet with every meter, unease grew. No active human signatures. No life support spikes. No emissions. It was too clean. Her mandibles clicked softly. It's a setup, she realized. But the recognition came half a second too late. Aboard the Aurora's Dawn, Vega pressed the detonator. Explosive charges erupted through the corridor, shockwaves ripping through asteroid fragments, pulverizing ancient metal, and collapsing the narrow channel in a violent cascade of debris. The trap wasn't just physical, it was psychological. Theta 9's squad, separated by the destruction, lost neural sync. Their strength, unified thought, shared vision fractured in the chaos. 2 operatives crushed beneath falling rock. Another thrown into the void, systems failing, Sereth barely stabilized, exosuit shielding flaring under the assault. It wasn't enough to eliminate them, but it sent a message. Aboard Aurora's Dawn, Vega's crew cheered quietly, cautiously. They're scattered, Javid confirmed, reading the fractured sensor returns. We've got a window. Vega's eyes sharpened, resolve etched in every word. Plot the course. Full burn. We escape now before they regroup. Engines whirred to life, silent at first, growing to a hum of restrained power as the Aurora's Dawn threaded through the debris field, slipping into a hidden vector carved by ancient gravitational anomalies. Elsewhere, Sereth clawed free from rubble, fury simmering beneath layers of cold calculation. The humans had wounded them. A tactical victory? Perhaps. But victories carve ripples. Ripples become storms that as Sereth recalibrated. Scanning for the retreating human vessel, her neural uplink sparked with a chilling realization. This battle was no longer about one ship. It was about perception. The Kor'thul Empire bled today, not from war fleets or planetary sieges, but from the audacity of a few fragile humans refusing to kneel. And when empires bleed, the stars remembered that in the vast, cold corridors of power, perception is everything. It's the oxygen of empires, the belief in invincibility, the illusion that dominance is eternal. But every illusion cracks, eventually, and deep within the drifting remains of the fractured belt, that crack widened. The Aurora's Dawn, small, wounded, but defiant, punched through the belt's outer edges. Its battered engines burning hot as they threaded impossible vectors between tumbling asteroid husks and ancient debris. On the bridge, alarms screamed softly. Warnings about overheating systems, damaged hull plating, depleted fuel reserves. But Captain Marisol Vega's focus never wavered. Trajectory locked? She asked, voice sharp, steady as steel. Lieutenant Akira Javid's fingers danced across the console. Grav field anomalies ahead, but it's our best exit point. Vega's jaw clenched. We take it. Behind them, lost in the chaos of collapsing asteroid corridors, Theta 9 scrambled to regroup. Unit Sereth, bloodied beneath fractured exoskeletal plating, emerged from the rubble. Mandibles clicking with fury, neural uplinks sputtering static. 2 operatives remained functional. The rest? Crushed. Incapacitated. Eliminated by crude human explosives and clever misdirection. But Sereth's resolve burned brighter than any plasma weapon. Failure was unacceptable. Survival wasn't enough, she had to restore dominance, reclaim control over the narrative before it infected the Empire. Her remaining operatives initiated emergency protocols, broadcasting encrypted distress signals to Obsidian Pinnacle, their alien fortress orbiting the Empire's outer rim. Within Obsidian Pinnacle, Commander Isarth received the transmission. The chamber fell silent as fragmented reports echoed: human resistance, casualties among Theta 9, the Aurora's Dawn slipping beyond sensor range. The warlords hissed in outrage. Urtash, the crystalline advisor, spoke cautiously: they wounded our pride. One vessel. One captain. Isarth's gaze hardened, violet eyes burning with a dangerous stillness. And in wounding pride, they exposed fracture lines. He moved to the projection chamber. Holographic stars swirling around him, tactical feeds updating, planetary conquest maps flickering. This isn't about a ship, Isarth declared, voice low, lethal. It's about precedent. Let the galaxy whisper that humans can resist and rebellion festers. His claws tightened into a fist. Mobilize the sovereign armada. No more containment. No more surgical teams. We erase the Aurora's Dawn and with it the seed of defiance. Across the chamber, advisors exchanged uneasy glances. Deploying the sovereign armada wasn't standard protocol for a single vessel. But empires aren't maintained by logic alone, they are built on fear, spectacle, overwhelming force. Back within the belt, Vega's ship slipped beyond the final asteroid curtain, emerging into open space, a corridor of gravitational anomalies stretching toward uncharted systems. Lieutenant Javid exhaled. "We're clear for now." Vega allowed herself a small nod but no relief. "Not yet. They'll come harder next time," she said softly.